Friday, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back to the Huddle. I am Faith Suggs, your host, and of course, we're in the Huddle. Every week, every Friday, we try to air a new episode. We've been up to 14 episodes so far with an amazing guest, Kyra Lambert, Nolan Smith, Shane Southwell, Ashley Nicole Moss, Sports Illustrated, who just announced this week that they're coming out with a season number 2 of Laces Out on Sports Illustrated if you missed it. And of course, amazing guests such as Natalie White from Moolah Kicks, George Stanton with Magic. We've covered it across the board, and it's been such a great time. We are so thankful for everyone joining us every Friday, catching the reruns, etc. But of course, you're here because you know Faith Family Focus, and this is a spinoff of just that. Faith Family Focus. I'm sorry. Every Monday I say it, but Faith Family Focus is with my father, Schaefer Suggs, former NFL player with the New York Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals, and me, of course, CEO and founder of Brand by Faith, a social media and branding company, telling the digital stories of our clients, and a former Duke Women's basketball graduate. That's also what I do. But it's been an awesome time so far. And you know, you can catch us every Monday with Faith Family Focus, talking about amazing topics. We've been covering March Madness so far, and I think that we might as well just stop because who has a perfect bracket anymore? But we talked about that a little bit and gave our predictions for the Sweet 16 men's and women's. If you haven't caught it, you can scroll down and see that episode as well as any previous episode of Faith Family Focus and The Huddle. We are in partnership with E360 TV, our famous friends out of Phoenix, Arizona. And they have been with us for over 2 years. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary of just this, of Faith Family Focus. The Huddle has been kicked off this summer. So it's been an amazing experience. We are so blessed to be here with you all. And we are so glad you're joining us this awesome Friday morning. So once again, like I said, we always have amazing guests. And today is one that I really, really am excited for. We were talking before the show. She's annoying, but she is one of my closest friends and my sister and my teammate. You guys have met Haley Gorecki, a teammate. You've met Kyra Lambert, a teammate. You've met so many other amazing women. But for Women's History Month, to wrap it up, we have an amazing guest in Jayda Adams. Jayda Adams was my teammate at Duke for 3 years, I believe, if I'm not old. I'm 4 years removed from college. I just realized that the other day. So that means I'm old. Tomorrow is basically 30. But Jayda is from California. She played in modern day basketball. We can talk about that on the show as well. She's a wonderful sister, a daughter. She is currently at CSUN playing basketball. She's battled a few injuries, and we'll touch on that a little bit with adversity and our faith and a whole bunch of other stuff. But we are so excited to have you guys all here to get to know Jayda. And, you know, I don't want to spoil her bio a little bit because she'll jump on and tell us all about her. But after this quick break, we'll have Jayda on and we'll talk and dive right into the Huddle. Jayda.
Hey, Faith.
I totally forgot that you were in that little trailer.
I know. I was like, is that
me? It is. It's funny. Whenever I have people on, former teammates of ours, so Haley and Kyra, I can see you guys in the backstage, and they're always like super laughing because that's you. That's you in a clip right there. That's you, 100%. But thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me. So excited.
How are you? What's new?
Nothing. We're on spring break right now, so getting some time to relax. Although I don't get to relax like everybody else. I am taking an accounting course, so pray for me. All prayers are welcome. But yeah, I need it in order to graduate. So just trying to get it done. So when school starts back up after spring break, I'm all set and ready to go.
Where exactly is CSUN? Breakdown for those who don't know where it is. Is it beautiful?
Yes. So CSUN is in California. It is in Northridge, the city. But technically it's in LA County. So, technically I'm in LA, but it's also the Valley. I don't know. It's not really like LA. So not so much city, but more like suburbs. And there's a lot of trees out here, which is surprising for California. But it's about like 30 30 minutes from like downtown, 30 minutes from Hollywood and places like that, 30 minutes from like Santa Monica without traffic. So with traffic, got to plan your day out. But without traffic, VB traffic, you know, smooth, cool riding. But yeah.
Well, thank you for that. In case anybody is traveling to California, she just gave you some traffic recommendations. Jayda, tell us a little bit. You're a California girl.
Yes.
So how nice is it for you to be home in California, doing the sports you love, but also finishing up school?
Honestly, it's awesome. Like for the past 4 years, I mean, I have missed out on like so many like family events, and my family's super close. So that was really hard for me. But now being back, I mean, I go home. I live in Irvine. It's about like an hour drive. So I get to go home whenever. I get to see my brother and my sister. They both live 30 minutes from me in LA. So that's super awesome. And it's just nice. Cali weather's nice. The food is great. You know, my skin's glowing. I got my summer body ready all year round. Don't have to worry about nothing. So, I mean, I'm really blessed, and I'm blessed to be around all my people. You know, just whether that's my friends or my family, I get to work out with my trainer, which is nice because getting a hold of him is hard. So, you know, I'm a little bit closer so I can work out whenever I want to. And it's just, I feel so much better being home.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. And I don't understand why anybody wouldn't. If I could have done it over, I wouldn't change anything, but I would try to find a school that was like in the sun, because like seasonal depression is a thing. Like
No,
it's
seriously.
like gray and cold, and of course we were blessed in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
When we were at Duke, it wasn't terrible, and the springs there are beautiful. But it's not LA.
Right. Yeah, no. Definitely like, I mean, it's warm for the most part, and you know, we still get our gloomy weather and stuff like that, but I can go to the beach whenever. There's literally 3 different beaches for me that are each 30 minutes, which is so nice. And the beach is just such a calm and relaxing place, which I love going to the beach. Just, you know, whether it's at nighttime, daytime, doesn't matter, just to get away from everybody and everything. So yeah, I mean, I really wish that Duke was in California. I think that would change everything. But I mean, I understand where you're at.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, so let's dive right into your story a little bit and give people a little background. I hope I didn't spoil it. I actually didn't give anybody any information, so this is perfect.
Yes.
Jayda Adams, who are you? Where do you come from? You spoke on Irvine, California. Mm-hmm. Let's start with your childhood. What was it like?
So going back. Okay, so I have my mom, my dad. I have an older sister and a younger brother. And all of us are super close. My mom, like growing up, had us like in sports all the time just to make sure that we were like busy and constantly doing stuff. So if I can remember correctly, I started off with like dance, which was awesome. Like I love dressing up. I love, you know, being the spotlight, you know how I am. Mm-hmm. So that was super fun. But it like wasn't enough for me. And, you know, I just started to get into sports. And I remember, actually, before I got into sports, the reason I stopped is because I would cry all the time. You know, I'm a crier, but it was just too much. My mom's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that anymore. She's crying in a tutu. We gotta give her something else. So I know you've seen the video of me crying.
Right, but what is there to cry about?
Everything. Like my parents didn't come to the pre-show of us showing our parents what we were doing. So my feelings were hurt and I wanted to cry, even though my aunt was there, but you know, and my sister played sports. So I wanted to do everything that she did. So I started, I played soccer and got to a point in soccer where like I was just bigger than everybody else. And like, you know, when you're little and they're like, oh, we need extra players on, you know, the other team or whatever. So I would go back and forth between my team and other teams. Mm-hmm. Then it got to a point my mom was like, do you even like soccer? And I was like, nope. Like, I don't. She's like, you want to try basketball? And I was like, yeah. So I started playing basketball, I think like maybe kindergarten, first grade. And then from there, it was just like, I didn't play anything else. Well, we were in karate for a long time, but that was just because my mom wanted us to like, you know, learn how to like defend ourselves and things like that. So that was pretty cool. And I got to do that with my brother and my sister. But honestly, it was just like basketball. And when I started getting into basketball, like, I think, yeah, probably about like second grade is when I started taking it like super serious. And then, yeah, from there just started playing and started getting better, constantly working out with my dad. I mean, I'm a gym baby. So grew up in the gym all the time, watching my sister's games and things like that. And then, probably when I was in 6th grade, our club program, like, so my dad had kind of taken, like, he asked the head director of our club program if he could make a mini one for like me and like a bunch of other girls. So that's what he did. And then when I was in 6th grade, they were like, hey, we don't have any extra people on like, our lower team. Could you come join us? Like, would Jayda like to play? So I go try out, and I'm a 6th grader around like all these high schoolers. And I was like, oh, this is different. Like, I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Definitely a struggle because my sister is still playing at the time too. So I go to practice and stuff, and, like big sisters are, like, she was like, you're not going to make a layup. You're not going to make a shot. I'm looking at her like, I know you see I'm in 6th grade, and like, I'm already skinny as it is. So imagine me short, probably as thin as a pencil. Like, but I was out there, I gave it my all every single time. And I know I just ended up falling in love with it. And then, so I started doing that, and then started playing, in front of college coaches at a young age, which is super awesome. But I felt like it kind of added like a lot of pressure on me, and there was always like pressure to be like my sister. So that's kind of where things started to get a little hard, because my sophomore year of high school, so back when USA was going on, all that stuff, you had to get invited to go. Well, this particular year, they decided that they were going to open it up to where anybody can go. So you still have the people that got invited, but if you didn't get invited, you could pay your way there and try out and see if you do it. So my mom was like, do you want to try it? What's going on? And I think there was like 154 girls. And out of all of them, I was the only one who made the team that was not invited.
Who else did that? My year, Sabrina.
Right. Yeah. So I had no idea about it, which I thought was super awesome. Mm-hmm. So my mom was like, all right, we're going to Colorado. Let's just go see what happens. And every day it was just like me and my mom saying a prayer, like, hopefully it works out. And then, they start making cuts, and I'm like, ooh, I'm still here. Okay. So then, I make the team. Super awesome. I was just like, super proud, super blessed, and excited to play for my country, but also like kind of following in my sister's footsteps, which is awesome. But then kind of after that, I felt like there was a lot of pressure because, people are like, my team, we didn't win gold. So, people are like, oh, like, what happened? And then it's like, oh, well, your sister has done this, this, and this. Like, I love my sister to death. She's my role model, all of that, my inspiration. But she has 3 gold medals, maybe 3 championships in high school, state championships, things like that. Like, I never even was anywhere near my sister as far as like accolades and stuff like that. So it was really hard for me, especially when it's like trying to find a school, because people are like, oh, well, you're not like your sister, or you're this, you're that. And like, I really had to reflect and be like, I'm not even anywhere like my sister, like we're 2 different players, 2 different people completely. And so then I kind of started to like resent my sister a little bit, because I'm like, I love my sister to death, but how am I supposed to, take that and transfer it over here? And like, my sister just basically sat me down one day and was like, you just need to think about what it is that you love so much about basketball, why you want to play it. She was like, I don't want you to be anybody else but yourself. We are 2 different players. And as long as I believe in you and, you got your family behind you, then that's all that matters. What everybody else has to say, like, it doesn't matter. So that kind of started to kick in a little bit. And like my senior year started feeling a little bit better. And then Duke offered me, and I was like, no idea where Duke's at. Don't know. I swear I didn't know. I wasn't really like a basketball head like that. Like, I just was in the gym constantly, but I never really watched like college basketball. Growing up, I just watched my sister, and that was kind of it. So when Hernando was recruiting me, he was like, do you know where North Carolina is? And I was like, or he said, do you know where Duke is? And I said, nope. He's like, not at all. I said, nope. He's like, did you know it's in North Carolina? I said, nope.
No, that's why you said no.
Yeah. I was like, I've just been here. I don't know where anything's at. So I go out on my visit. I'd gone to 2 other visits before that, go on this visit, and, I see all you guys. And I was like, I kind of like it. And I called my sister, and I was like, hey, girl, I think I'm going to commit here. She was like, hey, if that's what you want. And I was like, cool. And then next day I was just like, hey, coach, if like you're willing to have me. I know Coach P was actually everybody dropped their heads when I said I wanted to come there. I just was like, well, coach, if I could come here and you would have me, I would love to be here. And everyone's sitting at the table like, what are you talking about? Are you coming, yes or no? And I was like, yes. And Coach P's like, yes. So I'm like, all right, cool. Then yeah, I'm a Blue Devil. Let's go. And that's kind of like how everything kicked off for me.
Okay, so a few things in this story that you took us through. Many questions. Let's hold the Duke conversation to a second.
Got it.
I'm also, our viewers, you should know I'm used to having conversations with her about this. Like I'll give her a little bit and she'll go this big. Few questions. Childhood growing up. You're the middle child, so let's clarify that for people. Okay. Do you think that sports, you started sports obviously because you were put into them, but do you think that the reason you're playing was through the relationship with your siblings? A period of time?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah, honestly, yeah, I think so for the most part, because we would all go out and we train together, especially when all three of us were playing basketball. But even when we weren't, like when my brother was still playing football and he was playing baseball, we would go out and help him train. So it's kind of like something that we could all do together. And like, I remember my dad, when my brother was still playing tackle, he just like got into tackle. And so my dad had asked the coach for an extra, the padding, helmet, all that. And they would suit me up, suit my brother up, and we would just go at it in our front yard. And my dad was like, look, if she's hitting you hard and you would think that those boys are going to take it on you, like they're not going to take it easy on you. So you got to go. So that was just kind of like, yeah, definitely like where we got to spend like a lot of our time together, especially like after school. And I mean, me and my brother and my sister are close, like we're really close. So even after school and things like that, like we're constantly hanging out, watch movies, play games together, go outside. But sports was definitely, I think, what brought us like super close.
As you look back at it now, obviously that relationship grew into, you spoke out of resentment with Jordan, your sister. Mm-hmm. As you look back on it, are you thankful that you were able to have that kind of, because resentment also serves as motivation, right? Mm-hmm. Are you thankful to have that? Or as you look back and now, are you thinking like, no, it was kind of silly. I don't know why I would ever think that way, right? So how do you look at it?
I'd say like both. Like part of me is like, why would I even think like that? Because, my sister is the one person that like always has my back. So why I was kind of mad at her was like silly of me. But then at the same time, like having to kind of like go through that and deal with like people talking and, constantly comparing me to her, like that was just kind of, I feel like it helped me grow as a person. And I feel like I'm able to kind of handle things better. And then, when you get older and, you're playing, you get to college and things aren't going the way that they should be, or you're not playing as much and you still have people talking. Like, I feel like I was able to handle that better because I was able to go through it at such a young age. Mm-hmm. So I'm blessed for it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's how life rolls, right? You know what I mean? Like in the moment, it's like crappy, right? Mm-hmm. Or you look at it in this bad way, but also as you move on,
right,
back on it, it happened for a reason. So USA Basketball, for people who don't know, is an extremely interesting institutionalized organization, right? So it's extremely political along lines, but also once you're in it for life. Mm-hmm. Talk to us a little bit about that experience, though. As someone who's coming in from the outside, you didn't get to stay on the campus. Right? I know what the experience is like, but not everybody gets that experience. Talk to us a little bit more about that. What does it look like? What does the day-to-day look like? What do the cuts look like? Do they put it on a sheet or they call you?
So basically when I got there, and also too, like coming from California, like, and not even California, like I'm just a big person. I don't really talk to people unless I know them. And also on top of that, I was nervous. So like getting there, I didn't know really anybody. There's like girls that I've like played against like in the summertime, but I didn't really know them. So for the most part, like I was just kind of like by myself. And a lot of it was like, they gave you a number, you wore that number. I think my number was 415 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they gave me I don't know what my number was. It was
190 something. Mine was like 94.
Maybe it was like 145. Mm-hmm. Might have been that. But and so anyways, they had like the sheets. And for the most part, like as you go throughout the days, like it's just kind of like if you were going to a camp. and, you're doing different drills, you start to play against each other. And I think the first like 2 days, everybody was good. And then after that, you would walk in the morning. If your name wasn't on the sheet, then sorry, you got to go. And then as it started to like get down to like the last like 40, I remember that's when they were like, all right, now we're going to start telling you guys, because, the group is smaller. We're going to start telling you guys who made it, who didn't make it, things like that. They would give us breaks in between. So, after you have like your first like 4 or 5 hour session, take a break, come back, do the same thing, and end it for the night. So for me, really, it was just getting up, eat breakfast in the hotel with my mom. We would go head over to the gym, do my stuff, come back, take a nap, because I have to sleep. So that was kind of it. And then wake up, do the same thing, and then go to sleep and do that the whole next day. And then so it's kind of like it. So then when I made the team, like that's when everything kind of like got really serious. And they're like, all right, so this is the plan. You guys are going to go home, you're going to come back, you're going to be at training camp for 2 weeks, and then then we're going to head out to Mexico. And it was just kind of like, well, and they're like, what can you work on? What can you do? There's interviews left and right. I was just like, I've never even been a part of this. So then when I came back, once again, all the girls, they kind of pretty much knew each other because they'd been, living in the dorm area. But once we got there, it was go time. And it was a really fun experience, honestly. Like it was cool. And then we would eat food. And then it was cool because you go into the cafeteria and Michael Phelps is in there. You're like, oh, like, hey, gotta act. They're like, listen, you guys need to be cool. Like, I remember there's one point we need to go take ice baths, and they were like, everybody's taking an ice bath. You don't have like the option. And I was like, I don't do that. So I don't know what to tell you guys. And so we go in there like, not a peep from you guys. When you come in here, this is people's jobs. They take this stuff seriously. So you need to come in and be like, cool. And like, we're young girls, we're still in high school, 15, 16. We're like, whoa, it's cool. And they were like, they're looking at us like they're giving us the mom look, like, don't you say a word. So we're just like, it's so warm. Like, so it was a fun experience though, like getting to see like different athletes, and, you can't really like walk into the facilities while they're working out, but you can kind of see from the outside. So that was kind of cool. But just like being in that atmosphere and like learning about different like professional players that like got to come through. Like I remember that there was like some little kids living in our area. They're staying there and they were Taekwondo. Cool. I learned Taekwondo in like 3 days. I thought that was pretty awesome. They were, but getting to talk to just different athletes and people from all over the world, like it's definitely a different experience. They teach you everything about basketball history, women's basketball history, just regarding USA. Like when they gave us each our numbers, they were like, we're giving you these numbers because of this. And I don't remember why they gave me my number. Couldn't tell you, but I know that I was like, okay, that's cool. I can run with that.
I can
yeah, super. Yeah. So it was a really cool experience, honestly. And if I could do it again, I definitely would. But just Colorado in general, like will always hold like a special place in my heart, just because I got to experience it at such a young age. And they really do. They take really good care of their athletes, and they want to make sure that you have everything that you need. So yeah, it was awesome.
So, and I'm not saying this to be funny. You guys did not win.
Mm-mm.
Did you medal?
Yes, we got third, I think.
You got a bronze.
Yeah.
You don't know what your Olympic medal is?
Yeah, well, it's because I want to win. So as soon as
you want your medal in the
No, Tasha has it in the house somewhere. Probably in one of my beds.
Let's touch on that a little bit, because we've lost together. So losing as the United States of America, and I've heard this from many people, what is that pressure like?
Well, yeah. So it's kind of like you almost feel disappointed in yourself. Like you just like let everybody down. And honestly, like, I don't even really remember the game that well. We should have won. Honestly, none of those girls were better than us. We should have won the whole thing. But it was really hard. And like immediately, as soon as you don't win, then everybody's looking at you sideways like you suck as a basketball player. And then you have if I was on the team, I would have done this, this, and this. But it's like there's nothing that you can do, because at the end of the day, it's out of your control. You have to listen to the coach. You have to listen to, like you said, it's very political. So there's a lot of other things that go into it. And it's just like all of us had a lot of pressure on us to try and be like the best team and, all these things. And then ended up, it actually wasn't us. But then the following year, another team lost and they didn't win either. And they had the same coach. So it kind of like played into that. But as far as like coming back and everybody being like, you suck, or you're this, you're that, you're not even that good. I mean, nobody's ever thought I was good. Nobody even thought that I should be there, be a part of the team. So even that was harder for me, because I'm like, dang, I start second guessing myself. Like, am I even good at basketball? Like, should I be here right now? Like, all the offers that I am getting and, the opportunities I'm getting to play basketball, like, is any of this, like, do I even deserve it? And I'm like, took me a minute to realize that I do deserve it, because I do work hard and I am a good basketball player. But I think going through that at a young age, when everybody else is winning, and then you're the first team to lose, it's like, what are you supposed to do? And then right after that, another team loses. So you're kind of like, well, maybe it wasn't me. Maybe I am fine. So yeah, it's kind of like, there's a lot of pressure that goes into it.
In the topic of losing and the pressure, we touched on the pressure. And I wanted to cut a little paper. We had Lene on, I forgot we have teammates. Lene was also on the show. And she was on the show for mental health awareness.
Yeah.
When it comes down to mental health, so we talked about, obviously, USA, which is the professional level, no matter how amateur they say it is.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about, so in our time at Duke, we went to the tournament twice. Right? Yeah.
I went once.
And you would have gone. You went once. Okay. You went once and you would have gone if it wasn't for COVID. So you would have been there twice.
Mm-hmm.
You were part of a team, I know for sure, that didn't make the tournament.
Yes.
Okay. What is that like mentally as a student athlete, as we're watching March Madness unfold, right? And there's at teams in the NIT, there's teams losing on the highest stage, and you hear the fan bases, you hear the coaches, you hear the snide comments, you hear the positive comments. What is the mental health toll and journey you take in the terms of outcome of games?
Yeah.
4 years.
I think, well, first off, everyone fails to realize that we're still human. So on top of the basketball part of it, on top of your sport, you're still dealing with your own personal stuff, your family stuff. You're still an athlete. You're still a student at that. So especially at Duke, like, not knocking any other school, but Duke is, they're hard. It's hard. It's challenging, and it's challenging mentally, physically, everything on your body. So you're trying to perform at the highest in academics. Then on top of that, we have such a high rep about, this is Duke basketball. This is what you represent and everything like that, to not accomplish that, not even to get to the tournament. And then you hear everybody on the backside like, oh, this should have been happening and this should have been happening. And like, it's hard to stay within your team. So then you start second guessing yourself. You start second guessing your coach. You start second guessing your teammates. And there's just a lot of like unknown in the air and a lot of negativity. Yeah. And you're like, should I be in the gym right now? Should I not be in the gym? You're looking at teams like, we blew them out, or I had a great game against them, or we did what we had to do, and they're playing and they're getting to do something that I'm supposed to be doing right now because I go to Duke. Like, you go to these high level schools and you're supposed to do those things. Mm-hmm. And if you're not doing them, you're just it just leaves room for
something's wrong. Something's broken.
Like, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with the system. There's something wrong. And sometimes it's not even that there's anything wrong. It's just that it just wasn't your year, and maybe somebody else had a better year. And I feel like when athletes go to these high level schools, like, there's already pressure that you're going to that school. Like, when I was in high school, as soon as I committed to Duke, everybody automatically was, oh, you're Duke. Even now, I'm no longer at Duke, and it's constantly Duke. And I'm proud of Duke. I'm proud of everything I did, but that becomes your identity. That's who you are. You're supposed to do those things. You're supposed to go to Duke and play at a high level and play in March Madness and do all that. So it's hard. You start stressing out. You have a lot of anxiety. I mean, let's talk about depression. And I feel like a lot of people don't even know that they're depressed, and you can't even identify it, but you're really sad in the moment. You're sad. You're not sad because, oh, season had ended. Like, your season ended and now you're having to watch other people play. Like, if you're an athlete, you're a competitor, that is tough to do. And then on top of that, you're like, what can I even work on? Where can I even go? So you start doubting yourself. You start doubting your abilities, and it kind of just puts you in a hole, and it's really hard to get out of that hole.
And you know what else is the after you lose, people don't understand there is unspoken actions throughout college basketball in each program, right? So the first one is after you lose, that awkward, weird feeling now you have between the coaching staff and the players.
Right.
Understandable, because you don't want to be happy, because what are you happy about? You lost, right?
Right.
But you also have your own battles you're battling as a student athlete, as a person, as a human, and just like they do as coaches.
Right.
We're watching across the board in college athletics, the coaching arena change, right? So coaches are leaving, they're getting fired, they're resigning, they're stepping down, they're retiring to go work in the WNBA across the board, right? We've seen it. At a school like Duke, we're tossed into conversations with fan base and aware of conversations around our coaching staff and our head coach from the very moment we committed.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like for college students?
Well, so, Coach P is not everybody's favorite cup of tea. Mm-hmm. And I'm a very loyal person. And so when I committed to Duke, it was not only like my sister told me, when I commit to a school, she was like, you do it for the school itself. You never do it for the coach, because players stay, coaches leave. And as I've gone throughout my college career, that is something that I have seen happen at a lot of different schools. So when I chose to go to Duke, I was going to Duke for the school. I was going to Duke for basketball, and I wanted to play for Coach P, but whether or not she was there, I still was getting what I wanted to get out of my education and my college experience. But on top of that, everybody was like, Coach P this and Coach P that and da-da-da-da. And, yeah, my girl, I was getting cussed out. Yep. Yep. Gotta love it. And so, but I remember I told Coach P when I was on my visit, I said, or maybe it was on my visit when I got here, I said, Coach, a lot of people have been saying things about you. And I want you to know that I'm not the type of person. I have to experience things for my own. So if you're really as bad as they say you are, I'm going to learn that on my own. But I want you to know that that's not something that's going to get in my way of playing here and me being here and being part of your program. I want to be here. And I feel like a lot of people aren't like that, because, you get so caught up in the hype that they're like, well, God, I mean, I heard she's crazy. What, at this point, which college coach isn't crazy?
Isn't crazy.
What coach have you ever played for that has just sat there and been like, oh, good job, team, and we're good, and oh, we lost by 50. That's no problem. No running on the track tomorrow. No, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's crazy. So you have to like put in perspective that it's not perfect. You can't walk into a place and be like, oh, dreams and butterflies and rainbows. Like, that's not it. So for me, it didn't really weigh too much on me, because, people be talking and I'm like, it's not even going to go in one ear. It's literally leaving. I couldn't even tell you what people have said about Coach P, because I don't listen. I don't care.
Right.
But I know for like a lot of other people, it scares them, like scary going into that, knowing it. But I would rather know and know what I'm getting myself into than not to. When I went on my visits, all my visits, I asked the questions to the players about the coaches, like questions I wanted to know. Is she crazy? Is he crazy? What can I expect? What can I not expect? What am I going to get out of this? And I think even too, when people go on their visits, they are scared to ask those questions. You can't be scared to ask those questions going into it, because it creates a false reality. And then when you get there, it's not what it seems. Like, it's completely different. And I mean, for the most part, I knew it was going to be crazy. But when I got there that first week, I was ready to come back to California.
What happened in your first week?
Workouts. Workouts were hard. They were just elevated. They're different than high school workouts. So when I got there, between the humidity, the heat, having to run to class right after practice, just working out.
That in itself is what makes Duke hard. Like,
Right.
when we say, like, yeah, the school and homework is, but like it's a walking campus.
Right. So having to, I remember me and Jade were Coach P gonna take all the time she can, and classes started at 11:15. So we're sprinting out of the gym, sweating after we just got out of the shower, going to the class like, our teachers are like, "Are you guys okay?" No, we got out of practice late. We haven't gotten to eat yet. Like, we're sprinting, trying to make sure we're here on time. Like, just like, it was really hard to adjust and get used to that. So yeah, that added into it itself. And I remember I called my mom, like, you can come get me now. I don't know how I'm going to get back, but you guys can come get me. This is hard. And I remember my mom was like, Jayda, what's so hard about it? I'm like, I've never done a workout like this. And I've done CrossFit. I've done different things. And not once in those moments have I ever been like, all right, I'm ready to quit this. Like that first week and a half, I was like, all right, let's see how tough you are. Cause I don't know. I don't think you're as tough as you think. But I mean, once you get past like the first like month in the summer.
Yeah, the summer's the worst. That's really what, like, the summer's the worst and preseason is the worst. Other than that, it's all kind of like just
feeling.
Yeah. Like it's just kind of like tedious in a way.
Yeah.
One of the things when I talk about like the coaching piece of it, like I feel like people who don't go through the process of college sports don't understand the weight of their words on these student athletes, on the coaching staffs, on, you know what I mean? Like the student athlete came because they built a relationship.
Right.
And so Coach P built a relationship with us. She built a relationship with every single one of the athletes, whether that relationship was left or right.
Right.
She built the relationship to begin with to get the athletes to go to Duke.
Right.
And so when you say things, heavy words about the coaching staff, about the team, about this player, right? And this goes for parents as well. It mentally affects their mental health, their day-to-day, like how they feel about themselves, how they feel about the situation they're walking into. Like you have to choose to be a college athlete. You don't just, because I think we've all have been in the space like where we slip off the choosing mentality and we're just there. You know what I mean? And when you're in that space, like that's like a minor form of like depression because you're dreading going to sleep because you have to wake up and do it all over again. I feel like we've all had that. Like, gosh, I don't want to go to sleep yet as I'm setting my 5 o'clock in the morning alarm because I have to go to practice for 3 hours in the morning and then weights and then practice. And then when I get home, I have to go to sleep early to do it all over again. So you get lost in this routine. And so it's just, it can be draining for sure. And that's what I'm saying is I'm watching these games. I'm watching these student athletes now have to transfer or this or that, like mental health, man. Like,
well, and also too, like, I mean, so growing up, obviously, like we both know that the transfer rule protocol, whatever, like you had to have a legit reason to transfer. Right. And so I think now, I think it's a blessing and a curse that people get to leave schools because there are a lot of people that I know that were super unhappy, girls that are older than me that were like, I hated it there or I hated it here and all these different things. And they weren't able to leave. And they felt like if they were able to leave, things might have been different. And I feel for them. But I feel like now too, at the same time, a lot of people they don't even really care. They're not doing their research as much anymore. And to me, like you have to do your research. Like why go to a school if you're only going to be there for a year? Like, you know what I'm saying? Not because you're transferring and you'll have 1 year left, but because you're like, oh, this seems like a good fit. This is a big time school and I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get all these other things. And then you get there and you're like, oh, I hate it. But I'm like, where's the background? Where's the research? Where's the asking those questions, asking the coach the tough questions? Like, are you actually having those real conversations? And if you aren't, then why put yourself in that position? Like, not saying it's a problem, but there are a lot of girls that you only get 4 years in college and everyone just got a 5th year because of COVID. They've been to 4 or 5 different schools, and not saying that that's a problem, not saying that things didn't happen, but are you doing the work to make sure that this is the place for you? Because the one thing that I was told was this is going to be your home for the next 4 years. This is going to be your home. So why would I want to choose a place where I'm not willing to stick it out and make sacrifices? And I feel like a lot of people too are not willing to make sacrifices. Like in every relationship, it's a give and a take. Basketball is a different relationship in itself. You have to sacrifice things for basketball, just like you have to sacrifice those things with your coaches and your teammates and your family members. What are you willing to sacrifice in order to be at a place where you're happy? And I feel like too, when we talk about happiness, everyone just assumes that they're going to go to a new school and it's going to be happy. Right. Or they're going to be happy. There are the same problems that you had at your last school because you're not handling them. Yeah. Or, you go to another coach and did you do your research on the coach? What happened with this coach in the past? Why are players leaving? Why are people staying? Like, nobody, I just feel like it's just kind of like it's blurred out at this point. And everyone's like, oh, okay, she's going to a new school. She's going to a new school. Like, you should be able to, like, you should find happiness in yourself. And I feel like that goes into the mental health part of it is we are not taught to find happiness in ourselves because at a young age, it's, if this is the sport you're playing, this is what you do. You handle it, you go through it, you're tough, you fight, and that's it. No questions asked. You do what you're told. But it's like it is your choice to choose what school you go to. And if you choose to decide which school you go to, you have to be willing to put in those sacrifices. And if not, if it doesn't work out and it's really mentally bad for you, then hey, yeah, you can transfer. But also at the same time, what are the reasons that are causing you to transfer? Is it because you didn't like the coach? Is it because you didn't play? Like, is it because you actually have things going on? And I feel like just recently in the past couple months, I've seen so many athletes be like, I'm retiring from my sport, not because of the school, not because of other things, but because I mentally am incapable of being here right now. And this is what I'm doing for me. And so it's like, what are you doing and how are you analyzing everything that's happening right now? And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. So it kind of takes away like the transferring part of it. Like, I really needed to leave because this was a bad situation for me. I didn't get along well with my teammates. I didn't get along well with my coaches. Like, there's a lot of things happening to me, or I had life happening to me. I just needed to come home. Yeah. I get all of that. But then on the other hand, you have all those other people that are like, it's a new school. I want to do this. I'm going to do that. I want to live here. Like, that kind of diminishes it for everybody else.
Yeah, and you gotta look at it. It's bigger than just how you look in the jersey. It's the whole package, especially for the women's game.
Right.
And for the women's game in general, like, it's a completely different beast. You know what I mean? In comparison to the men's game, I mean, where you go, really, like, once you get to the Power 5 level, it very much has to do with what that school will do for me in terms of basketball, right? And then the women's point of view, you stare at it, what can that school do for me all around, across the board, right? Because as a woman, you want to keep adding accolades on so that you can become more and more, not just more professionally, athleticism wise, but also like just as a brand, right? And so, and that's why girls just get it, but it's bigger than just what you look like in the jersey or the colors and this and that location. It really has to do with, because once you get into that machine, you better be happy with the machine.
Right. And like, I can even say like now, like, I've definitely been humbled coming back home because, CSUN is not a Power 5 school, but they're still, low D1. And I'm very blessed to be here. But as far as how everything runs here, it's so different than being at a place like Duke. Mm-hmm. And I'm so used to, show no emotion. You cry in your car.
Cry in your car or cry in the shower. That's what we were told.
Yep. Yeah, you cry. You don't let anybody see you cry. Yep. And it's so different because I have a lot of freshmen on my team. So, these girls are very emotional. And I'm sitting here like a still box, like, you got to stop crying. Because, and not saying that crying is a bad thing and not saying that, having emotions is a bad thing. But I've been so wired in my life and in my basketball career to be strong, and you handle things as they come. And so I'm learning that, like, you can still have a soft side to things. And my coach has taught me that because she coached with Vivian Stringer. Right. That was her right-hand man for a long time. So she, very much so still in, doing that. And she coached in the WNBA and coached overseas. So I'm kind of able to talk to her like, how do you handle this? Because me and you were on a level here that I've never even experienced this before. I don't know how to handle this. And so I have had a hard time too, especially going through another injury. Yep. Here we go. Going through another injury, which isn't too bad, everybody. Just got a bone bruise. No problem. Got 2 bone bruises. But how? So the week I got cleared, I was feeling myself and everything's great. I'm getting buckets in practice and we were in a drill and we didn't get it the first time, didn't get it the second time. So we're on the third time. And at this point, I just think my leg was really tired. And, once again, I go until I can't go anymore and I don't really know. So just going and the balls got stuck in the net and my teammates are looking around like, who's going to get the balls? And I'm looking at them like, get the ball out of the net, because if we don't do it now, we're going to run and I don't want to run and we're going to have to do this drill again. And it's a 3-minute drill. So we got to go to jump to get the balls out of the net. And when I jumped up in the air, my knee kind of went like that. And I was like, so when I landed, I was like, oh, that's not right. And then my knee ended up swelling up, had to get my knee drained. And they were like, it's just a bad bone bruise and you sprained your MCL. And then when I was coming back from that, got another bone bruise in the middle of that. So we just kind of called it quits this season just to make sure everything was like good to go. But that was really hard in itself because, this is now my 3rd year. I haven't played basketball. So this is really hard for me. I'm like, and on top of that, I have a lot of pressure being at this school because I'm from Duke and I've done this and I have all these accolades. And so I need to be here. And it was a lot of pressure, not just from me, but I already put a lot of pressure on myself to be good because that's what I do. That's how I operate. But then it coming from outside forces and, I have family members that are like family members and friends. Everybody wants to see me play. I haven't played basketball in 2 years. So everyone's like, when are you playing? When are you playing? So I'm trying to battle injuries, trying to battle being at a new school. And then everybody's like, when are you playing? Why are you not playing? Like, when are you coming back? When are you going to be cleared? And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I'm just waiting on my body to tell me when it's the right time. And so that added like a lot into like my mental health. And I can definitely say like, we can call it depression. I don't really know, but it definitely took me a couple months to kind of like realize that like maybe my basketball career is coming to an end soon. And I need to start putting things into perspective because, like I said, all my life, I've been a basketball player. All my life, I've been in the gym. I've been doing things. So now that it's like, oh, I'm at home, I'm comfortable, but there's a lot of things that aren't going right that were supposed to be going right. And so now it's kind of like putting things in perspective of what am I supposed to do? And, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my coach because instead of her just kicking me off to the side and, getting rid of me, I still had a position on this team. I still, was like, I want to be here. I want to do those things. And she gave me the option of, if you need a day off, do what you need to do. And I never took a day off because at the end of the day, I chose to come to the school and my teammates need me. They need what I bring to this team, whether or not it's on the court or off the court. So I had a big role this season of being a mom. I am a momager for sure. I do hair, do nails. I make sure everybody's outfits look right, make sure makeup looks good. Are we adding bows in? Are we not adding bows? Does everybody have everything that they need? And that's different for me, and being on the sideline, I feel like when I went through it my junior year was really hard because there was a lot of other things that went into it. And I'm just like, dang, I want to be here. I want to be, I want to play. I want to play. And so not saying I've gotten comfortable with not playing, but I've gotten okay in understanding that everything's going to work out in the end and what is meant to be will be. So that was kind of hard, but I just stayed very positive. And I can definitely say that, even though I was not playing and my teammates only saw me practice 3 days, there's still a lot of pressure of making sure that I'm coming every day like a coach. I have to straight face whatever's going on. Nobody else can know about it, which is hard because, my teammates, I look at them and they're able to go through their emotions. They're able to have those bad days. And I didn't understand how me being on the sideline, how that affected my teammates on the court because I touched the court 3 times. That was it. Other than that, I'm on the side. I'm doing my own stuff. I'm doing my own rehab. But I had to like understand that I am, I motivate my teammates. Because I come from Duke and I know a lot about basketball. I have a high basketball IQ and all these things that my teammates do look at me to lead them, and I do have to be. Today is a great day, even though today might not be a great day. But as long as they don't know and they're okay with it, and I'm cheering them on, then that's something that I had to learn how to do. So that was definitely like very humbling because I didn't understand how I'm affecting my teammates, and I'm not even playing. Like that was really hard for me, but they do look up to me. So there was like a lot of that going into, being here. But once again, I am surrounded by my family. I have good friends. So it's sunny out here. So I was just able to kind of go from there.
Yeah, and injury, like we talk about injuries as a first form of adversity, and that's very much your realization in that comes from those experiences. 100%. You know what I mean? And like as you think through it, everything happens for a reason. I say this all the time. You've heard me say that all the time. And it is, right? So like 5 years from now, you can look back and be like, oh, that makes sense. 10 years from now, be like, oh, that makes sense. 15 years from now, you can be like, oh, that's silly, but it makes sense, right? So that's kind of the path of life, right? You have no control over anything but how you can feel towards it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's take a little pivot towards, just rapid fire conversations. We're coming up to our last 8 to 7 minutes of the show. Okay, perspective on Brittney Griner. Go, boom.
They need to let her go. Let her go. First off, I know she makes money in Russia. Why is she there? Send her home.
Money. They make millions of dollars over there.
I know, but they should have known as soon as things started happening. They should have been like, listen, we don't feel comfortable sending her there. Don't care how much money she's making. We're just gonna keep her here until things kind of die down or they're a little bit better. Because now she's stuck. Now she had like 10 years and they're trying to get it down to 5. Like
10 years. I think that they finally have been able to contact her today, the U.S. Embassy, for the first time. She's been in there since mid-February, I believe.
Like, let her go. She's too big to be in jail. Come on, get her out.
She is, and it's scary because they're about to go to war, or they are at war. That's terrifying. But tell you about this: if it was Tom Brady in that jail,
they would have had
it was Jason Tatum in that jail. Because I think Jason Tatum and her even though Brittney Griner is like one of the greatest, on the women's side, right? Like we'll throw her in there when her career is over. That's about equivalent to Jason Tatum, right? Like how important she is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If Jason Tatum was in prison in Russia, Jason Tatum or Boston would have gone to war.
Adam Silver would have been knocking on the front door, get him out. Coach K would have been, get him out. we would have seen everybody and their mom. He would have had they're like, we're giving all of our money, get him out now. So I feel like then that also just goes to show like how women are still fighting in women's sports just for all the things that we're fighting for. Like, how is it that, even when the UCLA players, when they were in China a few years back and they got in trouble for stealing and, granted they were minors, but they got taken to the jail out there. They were out that fast. Adam Silver had them out that fast, making sure that things are good because these are future NBA prospects. Versus now, what's the difference between her? What has Brittney Griner done in her life that why do your accolades and what you do have to be a reason that we get you out of somewhere? Like, but if we talk about it, she's in basketball. She has championships. She
gold medals.
Gold medals. She like fights for LGBTQ plus community and their rights and things like that. Like she does all these things. So what's the difference between her and Jason Tatum or Tom Brady and those young boys? There's no difference. Get her out and bring her home.
Yeah, and she's a Black woman.
That's true.
Well. But it's, the respect towards the women's game. So what we're seeing, and that's your next rapid fire question, is March Madness, your perspective on it as a student athlete who was not participated in. Apparently, we didn't even know March Madness wasn't ours. What is your perspective on the first year of the NCAA women's basketball tournament being labeled as March Madness?
Honestly, I think that's awesome. Like we are constantly fighting, and I did actually a report on this in school, which was super awesome. But I think last year during tournament time, they showed like all the amount of viewers that they had on like ESPN for the women's game for I think it was the MLB, NBA, men's team, whatever. And UConn was playing, and I don't know who they were playing against, but that game had more views than the MLB did. And it's like, and at that time, that was still when the girls were like, we only have 30-pound weights in here.
Yep.
Look, these meals are nasty.
No, it was not 30 pounds. They had like 10-pound dumbbells.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, seeing that, like, I think that's such a big step for women's basketball and just in general. Like, we're constantly fighting. Like, I've never understood this, but we work just as hard as the men do, right? We come in same time, summertime that they do. We go to class just like they do. We go to class. We get extra hours in the gym like we're supposed to. We're constantly doing the exact same things that they're doing. Only difference is that we can't dunk. What? Yet. And honestly, that girl from Stanford, okay, baby, she's putting us on the map. So it's like, there's so many things going to it, but why can't we get treated the same? And so I think that that's so awesome, and I'm so proud of all the girls that are even playing in the tournament right now, whether or not my team is playing in it, because that's such a big step for women's basketball, and I think that's so awesome. And I can only imagine how much further that we're gonna take it.
Yep. Okay, next one. Talk Coach K. Favorite memory.
Honestly, I got too many memories of Coach K because I be looking stupid when he talks to me. And it's normally in the training room. And so I had a lot of like free time in rehab, I think my junior year and in the summer and things like that. And my senior year too, because I was injured twice. So, he was in there recovering from his little injury. So we would sit and talk sometimes.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I had a test, okay? And like, I was studying for it. I'm studying for it in rehab, like when I'm on the table, icing, heating up, whatever. So everybody knew I had this big test, and it was for psychology. And psych is hard.
Everybody know. First of all, I believe that I was taking the same test. I was not studying as hard as you were.
Right. I don't even know. And I just know I was like, you got to go, girl. We're in there. And I think someone had asked, I think Nick, he was like, hey, how'd your test go? And I was like, what test? And Coach K was like, what do you mean, what test? And I looked at him like, what are you talking about? What test? When did you get here? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, you don't know how it went? I'm like, I'm hoping I didn't fail. I'm like, it was hard. It was probably one of the hardest tests I've ever taken. And I studied so hard for like 3 weeks. I think I did all right on it. But it was just the fact that Coach K looked at me like, you don't know how you did on your test. And I'm looking at him like, I know you're not going to sit up here in this training room and tell me, have you been in that classroom, sir? I looked at him like, and then he made a joke, and you know how I am. I'm still stuck on the fact that you're asking me if I didn't know how my test went. So he, says whatever, and I looked at him like, and he made a joke, but it's Coach K, so you have to laugh at the joke. So I was like, you're so funny. You're so funny, Coach K. He was like, I'm like, I left the room. I said, Nolan, he is not funny. Y'all got to stop laughing at his joke. He's not funny. He's old. He's old like an old grandpa dad joke.
They have their own level of comedy. Okay, my story of Jayda Adams, it was Jada's freshman year. We're playing at Miami. It's actually this game right here. Okay, we lost. It was the day before New Year's Eve.
Oh, it sure was.
Legendary fun after that game. But Jayda went to check into the game, and she had her whole warm-up on. And we all were like, Jayda! And you ran, like you checked in, ran. Coach P goes back to like this.
And I remember he was like, Jayda, Jayda. I was like, what? You're like, your shirt. I was like, oh, ooh.
The whole long sleeve. Oh, goodness.
Wait, I didn't even have my jersey on underneath?
No, you had your jersey on underneath, but you had your whole long sleeve warm up. But wonderful time. Thank you, Jayda, for joining us on the Huddle. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Soon.
Yes.